Hello. Thank you for clicking on this video about interactive grammar presentations that center students' experiences. This has been a really helpful tool for me in my teaching, and so I'm happy to share this little preview of it with you. I think that a lot of us have had the experience of giving a grammar presentation. Maybe it was really beautiful, well-organized, images, examples, and at the end of it you wonder, did the students get that? Not so sure. Maybe they did. You're just kind of looking at their eyes, perhaps, to understand. And what this strategy addresses by adding in interactivity is formative assessment within the grammar presentation. Because it's interactive and you're asking for things from the students, you can assess as you go through the presentation how much they've understood. The other thing, as you can see on the slide, is that this approach centers students' experiences, so that the meaning of the grammar is just coming from their lives, basically. They're giving examples, they're talking about their lives and their experiences, and then you as the teacher are using that as the basis of the grammar lesson. So what this might look like, right at the start, here's the big idea. Students will give you the meaning. So they'll say, I live here 3 years. Like if you're teaching the present perfect, for example, that's where they'll start. And then you, as the teacher, sprinkle on the form, and you would add in, I have lived here for 3 years. This is probably kind of familiar looking. It's a familiar common technique for error correction, just recasting. But you can also organize this into a presentation. So the question is, how do you get students to, for one, give you focused sentences where they're giving you like this particular meaning so that you can add in the present perfect, for example. And how do you get the students to give you a lot of these examples so that they can see a lot of sample sentences with the present perfect so that they can really understand the pattern of the form and understand the meaning. So here's an example. For this tense in particular, I would start off with a chart with these like discussion questions. You can discuss the questions as a whole class. You can have the students discuss the questions in small groups. But after they've discussed it or during the discussion, you can start to fill out the chart. So maybe you start off by modeling. You put your own information there. I live in Queens. How long? 5 years. And then you start filling out the chart with the students' information. Once you've got their information there in the chart, then you can start to co-construct sample sentences. So I modeled with my own information. I have lived in Queens for 5 years. Write that on the board. Bold the grammar, underline the grammar so the students can really focus on it. After that, you can start to write about their information from the chart. As you go through these, I usually kind of elicit it. Say like, oh, okay, and what about Abdul? What about Min? And see what the students can do. Because the grammar is bolded and underlined, they might start to notice it and start to be able to like kind of provide the form themselves as you go through. Once you've got these sample sentences on the board, then it's time to help the students analyze them, to notice the patterns, and understand the meaning more clearly. So in order to do that, again, I usually don't just tell students because I want to formatively assess and also guide them to it to help them remember it better. So I would ask questions like this, for example. I'd say, okay, does Abdul live in Brooklyn now? Students will likely say yes, because that's what Abdul said. I asked, where do you live? He said Brooklyn. So they kind of understand the meaning already. They understand the context. And in the past too, sure, he does, yeah. Ask a question about some of the other sample sentences. What about Yuri? Does he work in a hotel? Did he only work in a hotel in the past? No, they already know the answer to that. And so what that leads up to with this particular grammar is this very targeted question about the grammar. Does have lived connect the past and the present? Yeah, they can see that from the context, from the examples, from their lives. They can see that like, oh yeah, this is connecting the past and the present. So an overview of the steps. First off, I start by asking questions that naturally evoke the use of a specific grammar point. And maybe I should say that would naturally evoke the use of a specific grammar point, because I'm not expecting the students to use the form at this point just to give me meaning that I can add the form into. after they've discussed these questions, providing the information about themselves, then I note their answers. After we've got their answers, like in that chart, then I can add the grammar into their answers, and they might start to be able to do that too. And then as a final step of this presentation, I would ask questions about the sample sentences that we created together as a guided discovery to help them understand the grammar more clearly, and so that I can assess their understanding of the grammar as well. And then steps 5, 6, 7, 8, practice, practice, practice. Because steps 1 through 4 is a presentation. It's like how the students are meeting the grammar. But after that, they're going to need to interact with the grammar a lot more in different practice activities in order to become confident with it. So if that looked interesting to you, maybe helpful, and you'd like to know more, you'd like to know how you can apply this strategy to other grammar points, you'd like to work on it for your class in particular, and like help with that, just contact me. You can see the QR code there. That'll lead you to my email, which is also on the screen, WILLL@lacnyc.org. I hope this was helpful, and I hope to hear from you soon.